This is Eric from Pack Hacker. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Osprey Metron Airspeed 34, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So when it comes to external components, the first thing I'm going to talk about is how it can hold a bike helmet, just so I can get the bike helmet out of the way. So there's this little piece of elastic with a, let me kind of turn it up a little bit here. So as you can see, it kind of just piece of plastic on the end of a piece of elastic. So I guess I'll hold it up like this so you can see me undo it. You just kind of stick that through one of the holes on your helmet, and then it goes back down to where it kind of natively sits there. So nice to be able to attach a helmet. It's really awkward. Like, I've been to sports games, I've been to the grocery store where I'm just like walking through with this next to like just walking with it, and it's just very awkward. So it's nice to be able to put it on your backpack so you can carry it and not have to just be wandering around like a person with a bike helmet. So now let's dive into just like the materials and stuff like that. So we have a Blue Sign approved 100% recycled 500D high tenacity nylon here. I think it's held up very well. One thing to note is it does pick up like dog hair and dust pretty well. So I have 2 dogs and a cat, so there's just quite a bit of hair going on around here. Doesn't bother me so much, but I know that does bother some other people. So it does also clean up pretty easily with like a lint roller, or if you just take some tape around your hand and just kind of blot it like that, it comes up pretty easily. But I think that's something that's worth noting, and it's pretty water resistant as is. But in the bottom of the pack here, you can see we have this zipper down here. So if you pop this open, and it's also actually labeled, you can see it says rain cover right there, and it just pops out, and then you can attach the rain cover so you really have, you know, protection from rain, snow, whatever it is that you're using. And the rain cover attaches in here like this. You can remove it if you want to, but I just always leave it attached so that way you have it with you and it's not going to fall out or anything like that. And just very nice to have this included, especially here on the bottom of the pack. So this isn't taking up a pocket that you'd really use otherwise. So pretty happy with the inclusion of that. And if the weather turns bad, you can use it if you need to. So we have a little bike light loop right here, which is, again, a nice feature that doesn't get in the way if you're not using it. Like, I have a light that's attached to my seat, so I just use that, so I didn't need to attach to this. So I could attach like a carabiner on here or a speaker or something like that if I wanted to. But again, I'm not using it, so it doesn't look bad in my personal opinion. So we got YKK zippers going around the outside of this pack, Duraflex hardware on the backside, some of the plastic hardware. Just 2 of the best brands in the business. They get the job done. No complaints at all about the zippers or the hardware on this pack. As you can see, I've got it pretty loaded up, pretty hefty right now. But overall, very like that. I also really like the pulls they chose to use. They're very easy to stick your finger through and open, so that way you don't have to mess around with like trying to grab onto it, especially if it gets wet. So overall, on the outside of the pack, I mean, there's a ton going on, but the thing that stood out to me most is the kickstand. So as you can see, this pack is standing up on its own. The only time that I have noticed it does not stand up on its own is if you have a super heavy lock. So I don't have a super heavy lock in here right now. You'll see it in a little bit. But if you have a really big, like a chain lock or something like that, it might cause it to not stand up. It's got like a nice metal frame sheet here on the bottom. Or when I have my helmet on there, if I have it in there in a certain way, it just kind of slowly tips over like that. So this is a really nice feature if you get a flat tire or something like that. You can set your bag down. It's not like lying on the ground, and you're set to go. So we have an incredibly thorough harness system here, and it kind of works in tandem with that kickstand I was talking about earlier, and just the frame sheet in general. So as you can see, it's very rigid down here, and it kind of all plays in together when it comes up the sides like this. So I'm going to start with the back panel, and the best way to kind of show you the back panel is actually kind of from the side. So as you can see, it's raised. It's almost like a trampoline, if that makes sense. It's like very like just bouncy and very comfortable, and just the amount of airflow that you get from wearing this backpack is just crazy. Like, because you have air coming through here constantly, especially if you're moving fairly quickly, and it just keeps your back a lot cooler than almost any backpack I've ever tested, and just very comfortable because you don't really have any padding, but you're like have like a bit of, it's like lying on a trampoline. It's comfortable, but you don't have padding, if that makes sense. So you do have some padding around like the bottom portions down here, and then obviously with the shoulder straps and up here near the shoulders, and you can adjust this as well. So if you want to change how the size of the frame sheet here, you can kind of just move it to be smaller or larger depending on the size that you want it to be. Sometimes even if you're carrying it for a really long time and you just want to switch it up a little bit, you can do that. We also have load lifters up here to kind of move the load around if this isn't doing it for you. And then the shoulder straps are very well padded, have good mesh as well for aeration. Obviously they're not doing as well as this back panel because this thing is just crazy comfortable. But these do a very good job as well. As you can see, they're curved here. We have a sternum strap here. It's on a rail, so you can make micro adjustments to it as you see fit, but it's not moving around too much with, like, you have to put a fair amount of pressure on there. And then we do have a hip belt as well. So typically I like to see well padded hip belts, but this one does not have any padding or aeration. I like that for a commuter pack because when I wear backpacks that I'm testing on my bike, I typically get sweaty around like my hips because like it's just too much stuff and it just gets me very warm. So I like that this does not have a ton of extras. So I've got the pack on now, wearing it pretty much how I wore it to do everything I did with it, whether that was walking, cycling, hiking, throwing it into the car. Just, I found it to be pretty comfortable the same way no matter what I was doing with it. I'm not sure you can really see, like how I mentioned, it's like lifted off of your back, but you can really feel it, especially if you're cycling or doing something more active, like when you're leaning forward. And the thing that I really noticed most about the back panel was that I just wasn't sweating as much as I normally do, especially as temperatures are rising in Michigan right now. It's just a very comfortable fit. It does feel very large, but this is a very large backpack. But I do think it just, I don't know, it feels almost like some of their larger travel or backpacking, hiking backpacks. It's just very, you can really feel it. Very large footprint, doesn't feel super heavy or anything like that. It's just a big bag. And we do have strap keepers on the hip belt here and on the sternum strap. No strap keepers, at least on the model we have here on the straps here, but just overall a very comfortable experience. And no matter really what you're doing, you're going to stay cooler than you probably would have otherwise. So when it comes to secondary compartments, we have quite a few on this pack, and they're all very functional, but they don't get in the way if you do not need to use them at a particular time, which I dig. So the front pocket here is where I have my bike lock stored. As mentioned, I think I said that I have a pretty big bike lock, so I have the bike lock with the cable. I don't know the exact terminology for it, but this is pretty heavy. So if you have something lighter, it'll fit in there more easily, and just won't give you as many problems shoving in and out. I didn't have a ton of problems. As you can see, it's pretty easy to get it in and out. One thing to mention is that if you do have your bike helmet stowed here, this becomes a lot more challenging to access. This zipper, depending if you have like a more elongated bike helmet than I do, you might struggle with this zipper up here as well. But my bike helmet did not even come close to covering it, but some will get closer. So just keep that in mind if you have a bike helmet that you really like using and it's a little bit longer than mine is. So pretty easy to get this in and out. And a nice storage spot for it. You don't really necessarily need this inside rubbing around with like your laptop and stuff like that. So I like that you can stow it there. And then if you're not using it, you can stow a rain jacket in there, umbrella, you know, a bag of chips or something if you wanted to. You could just toss it in there and you're ready to go. Set this on the ground here. And you have a little tab here as well to open this to make it a little bit easier, and like a little bit of a cover for it. It's stuff in here is going to get wet if it starts raining. It just is. So on the side pockets here, we have two very similar pockets on either side. This one does not have a cover, so you can fit, this is probably best for tools, snacks, and stuff like that. You can fit a water bottle in here, but you're going to have to do a smaller water bottle. Like my 40-ounce bottle does not fit inside of here, but like a 12 to a 16, if it's the right, format, it's going to fit inside of there. Just depends on the bottle that you're using. I typically use this for snacks and also just bringing my bike tools, so I have them handy. Typically I'd put the tools in the side with the zipper, which is over here. Let me bring us over there. So you have the zipper here, and I would stow them inside of there. And then snacks and stuff like that I would put in this side as well. And even once I've used my iPod still, I still have an iPod and use it, and I had my iPod stowed inside of here, and then I had like the headphones running out like into my ears. So you really can use this for a ton of stuff. Again, we have a little loop there to pull it so you can get access to it, but it's stretchy mesh, so it does a good job of like just kind of keeping things in place and not moving around. But I don't know if I'd put something like you are really super worried about falling out in that pocket. So we have I should go through this one first here. So we have this small pocket here, which I just have a protein snack inside of right now. So I knew I wasn't going to be eating this on the ride, so this one gets stowed inside of here because I know I'm going to have it at work today. So inside of this pocket, there isn't a ton going on, as you can see. No real organization or anything like that, just a big open pocket. It reminds me of like the yoke pocket that they have on Evergood's bags, just a good place to stow phone, things you might want semi-quickly, whether that be phone, wallet, sunglasses, snack, or something like that, but not something that you necessarily need. You got dog hair flying around here. Not necessarily something you necessarily need super quickly, like the quick access pockets on the back or even this front one here. So we have an admin pocket right here, which is where we kind of get into more of the organization. So this kind of flops down like this, so you can kind of get a good look at the organization here. You can also see where this pocket up front is stored. So these do kind of share space here. So if you are putting a ton of stuff in both of these pockets, they're going to share space and kind of eat into the space allotted for each other. So as you can see, we have quite a bit of organization here. I've got my phone stowed inside one of these pockets, my wallet in the other. So these front pockets are crafted from mesh, so they are stretchy. You got that same little tab that I've mentioned a few times to kind of open them up a little bit. Then you have a liner pocket behind it, so these ones are not going to stretch out as much. And then in between you have pockets, like little stylus pencil pockets in between. Again, mesh one and then a regular one. So if you have like a larger stylus or something like that, you could stow it inside of there. Then this pocket goes all the way down to the bottom. So as you can see, my finger goes all the way down to here. I've just got some cat food stowed inside of here right now. I've got some feral TNR cats that we feed, so I'm always bringing cat food, and you can really put a lot of random junk in here, especially towards the bottom. So if you have a bike lock in here, obviously it's gonna eat into the space a little bit, but if you have a bunch of stuff inside of here and no bike lock, you can still fit a fair amount of stuff down there in the bottom. So pretty happy with the organization of this pocket. You also have a key leash right here, so you can attach your keys or your wallet or something like that. Like I have a wallet with keys, so I can attach that if I want to. So pretty good organization. So the main compartment of this bag goes from 24 to 36 liters. I believe I said that right. The numbers are like reverberating in my head right now, but that happens with this zipper right here that runs around the outside. So when I first got this bag, I was like, does this have two like large compartments? And no, one of them is just a expansion zipper. So you pop this open like this. In the back, the pack becomes quite a bit larger. As you can see, I'm kind of expanding it out. You get a couple extra inches of stuff there. And something I really like about this that I wish more bags that had sizable expansion areas had is that little compression straps pop out. So you have this little compression strap here that pops out, and then you can attach it to the back of the pack over here. So that way you can kind of cinch this down, and I don't know, when you get up to as big as this pack can go, it becomes a little bit, I don't want to say unruly, but just a big backpack. And when you're cycling, it's like you kind of want to make your bag a little bit smaller, especially if you're like weaving through traffic. I know that this isn't going to stop you from hitting a car or something like that. It just feels better. If you don't cycle through traffic, you might not know what I mean. It's just one of those things, like in my head, I'm like, I'm going to hit a car, and this little bit of compression just helps. One thing to note when you are putting the expansion part back, I keep wanting to say compression, is these kind of get in the way, so you kind of have to like push them in before you stick the zipper through. So as you can see now, I'm just kind of putting them away, and if you don't do that, like it actually worked out there, but a lot of times they kind of get caught in the zipper. But it's pretty easy once you get used to it, and like there, it's kind of getting caught on the little tail end there. So you just gotta watch out for that when you're putting those back into the pocket. And that's the little where you would attach the compression straps. So moving into the main compartment, we have quite a bit of space and not a ton of organization, which I dig, and I'll get into that why in just a little bit here. So one thing that is unique on this backpack compared to others that I've tested is the laptop is on the front side. So we have the front face of the pack, and the laptop is over here. So I thought that this was going to feel very like back heavy when I first started testing it. And I don't know, that was not the case. I was very surprised that it didn't feel much different than a regular backpack. And I think maybe that's because of how large the harness system is. So this harness system is so large and just kind of in charge. It's not super heavy or anything like that. I think it just distributes weight very well. So it doesn't necessarily matter that you have a fair amount of weight on the front side of the pack. So I'm gonna get my laptop out of there just to make it easier to show you this compartment. Let me slide this out of here. So 15-inch computer, no problem fitting inside of there. So let me kind of fold this over so I can show you a little bit more. So as you can see, this comes all the way down to about right here. So it is raised, so it's not going to slam onto the ground. Not a ton of padding, but enough padding to where I feel comfortable putting my laptop in there without a case. And then we also have a like tablet sleeve, or even just like documents and stuff like that, that goes down to about right here. So you can put documents, tablet, really, you could probably put another computer in there if you wanted to, if you had a smaller computer. And then it secures with a hook and loop fastener that kind of stops anything from flowing outside. So I've just got my daily stuff inside of here. I've got my tech pouch inside of here, my toiletry pouch. I have a little sling that I've been testing. Took this to New Orleans, really liked it. Look for a review on this soon. And then a North Face packable jacket, because just because your backpack is going to stay dry from the rain cover doesn't mean you are. So it's nice to have this, especially in April in Michigan. And then I have my camera cube shoved in the bottom of here. So quite a bit of room for gear. And this was all in here without the expansion section being used. So quite a bit of stuff inside of here. The only real organization on this side of the pack is we have a shoe pouch on the back here. So as you can see, you can shove a pair of shoes inside of here. This goes pretty much all the way down to the end of the pack. So it's designed for shoes, but I actually use this as like a packing cube to put clothes, because it's nice to have a separate set of clothes if you're doing something after work, or if you just want just in case. And like sometimes even if you're wearing rain gear, you're still gonna get wet. It's nice to have a separate set of clothing inside of here. So really not a ton of organization, and I like that because I can do so much stuff with this pack. So I obviously have my daily stuff in here, I have my camera stuff in here, but I've taken this on hikes, I've taken this just on a long bike ride, so that's gonna be different stuff inside of the main compartment than if I was going to work. So because there isn't a ton of organization that makes me use this pack a certain way, I can really do whatever I want with it, and I really like that. And I think a lot of the features do a pretty good job of having some organization to keep my bare bones organized and then just letting me do whatever I want with the rest. So overall, pretty happy with it. I really like that kickstand feature, which I've been talking about, because I don't know, when you're cycling, it's nice to be able to know your bag is gonna be standing up and not getting all wet. So overall, very happy with this thing and how it's performed. So there you have it, the Osprey Metron Airspeed 34. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.